is the Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff.
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff. I'm Alex Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. Let's do this, guys. All right, we got a big guest today.
Let's do this. But we got a big guest. This is actually round 2 of recording. This is take 2. The first take didn't stick quite well, but that's all right. We headed it off early into the show. We're back. Inside Scoop. We're back. With us is the legend in the sport karate world, the one
man
and only Jerry Fast Feet Fontanez.
Yes,
How's it
sir.
going,
Hey,
Jerry?
guys. Thank you for coming up. Thank you for having me, man. You guys got me all excited. I got Mr. Ding 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 and Jeff Sushi Dog. Sushi.
What's up,
Only
my
the original
friend?
flelavor. I love
Yes,
it.
sir. Yes, sir.
Ding man.
Oh man, I love
Jerry,
it.
we've talked about having you on the show for a while, and we just knew like how explosive and animated it's going to get. I'm animated enough for a family of people, and I can't hold a candlestick to you. So
Correct.
I'm
I
excited
see
about
that.
this show.
And life is about energy, man. Without energy, what do you got? You're walking dead.
All right. You're speaking
That's
my
right.
language.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Hey, how you doing, Jerry? Hey, how was your Father's Day?
Yeah.
It was incredible. Last Sunday, I was with 4 of my 5 children, and my God, it's freaking. I mean, I hadn't seen this since the pandemic hit. They were down on the Jersey Shore, so it was phenomenal. Thank God. How was yours?
Mine was great. It was pretty cool. My wife kind of set up everything. She said, "Hey, we'll eat whatever you want. We're gonna go." And then we went over to her parents' house. Jeff and I did a Father's Day. It was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
We had a great time. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome.
It was
That
fun.
was excellent.
It was fun.
But hey, let's get right into it, man. I'm excited.
Let's do it.
We really got no extra like topics except for what we want to do on the show. You've been in and around and with the sport for so many years. Tell me, because I'm gonna be honest with you. All right, I don't know really when and how you started in the sport. Talk to me about that.
Right. So go
Well,
ahead. Yep.
From a black belt standpoint, or from a child, because I started competing in May of 1976 as a child, 10 years old. But I started fighting black belt men at national karate tournaments at age 16, 1982, J Park Nationals. I took 3rd place in the super lightweight division. I lost to the number 1 super lightweight at the time, rest in peace to Gary Michak. But I beat a whole bunch of people, including another teenager in the division named Anthony Mafia Holloway that day. And this was in Springfield, Massachusetts, 1982. And I would have got rated that year by Karate Illustrated, but they messed up on the points and gave the credit to somebody else.
Funny how that happens, right?
So wait a minute.
Mhm.
You were supposed to be number 1?
No.
Ah.
What I was supposed to be rated. So this is what happened.
Just be rated.
1982. In New York, I was the top super junior, is what they called us. I mean, I got to the point where I was destroying people, just to be honest with you. But at age 16, I was going to be a father, and I had to pick a vocation, and I picked martial arts. So I thought that if we got rated, you would get rich. If I got into karate illustrated, I would be rich, hence be able to take care of my family or my what became my son. So I was able to go from, at the time, point karate to full contact karate, where you would be on TV and make millions of dollars. So I thought, I didn't know that wasn't the case. I had no freaking idea. But I was I was banking on something that would have been better than just being in being from the boogie down Bronx and living in the ghetto. At the time, the Bronx looked like Vietnam with bombed out buildings and stuff like that. So my escape was to go to tournaments. And 1982, because of Billy Blanks, actually was the reason why I started competing black belt men. He said to me, "Man, you can beat these guys today." After I won they started a new division called the young adult division, which was 16, 17. And I won the young adult division, and he says to me, "You can beat these men today." And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll go for it. And I took that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, I know you have mentioned that to me many times. Like that Billy was like really the guy that just pushed you in a lot of ways. Like in many ways, you've talked about how amazing fighter he was, and
Yeah.
Was that
People
who
have no
you?
idea. Listen,
Right.
people have no idea. Okay, they have no freaking idea. The Billy Blanks haters line is long and deep
Right.
because
Right.
Billy would humiliate people, scissor take down people. You would throw a kick at him, he would grab your supportive leg, put you upside down, and punch you to the rib. I seen him do things that people couldn't never fathom. To me, most of the karate guys were freaking boring fighters because when I saw Billy, I saw a dude do 360 spinning hooks, cartwheel kicks, scissor takedowns, and yes, he could still reverse punch you and beat you with that boring
Right.
crap. You know, I love action, man. I don't
Yeah.
like that boring crap.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Well,
it's
and
interesting you say that. So when you say like I love action, I like exciting, like dude, you're speaking my language. That's what I'm talking about. And I want to bring up somebody. Um, we had another passing in the sport.
yes.
A phenomenal kicker. I'm sure you've known him, seen him, maybe fought him. I don't know. Jerry Prince passed
Oh
away,
man.
and I've
Yep.
never got a chance to watch Jerry Prince
Oh boy.
fight, but there was people who tell me they were like, Jerry's the best kicker I've ever seen. Jerry Prince is phenomenal. He's explosive. Tell me, what do you? First of all, our condolences to his family and friends. But tell me a little bit, Jerry, what you know about Jerry Prince.
First of all, I haven't done my Jerry Prince, oh my God, memorial video because him and I were very close. You know, we were in the American airline team together back in 1988. So him and I were tight. And also rest in peace to Vernon Johnson, who was one of the key Vitality students. The three of us were like, we were the tightest.
Wow.
Jerry Prince can kick with either leg. If he, you know, he was probably the first guy I saw do the machine gun kicks backwards. You know, he went forward with them,
Right.
and then he went
back and
backward
go away.
with them.
Yeah.
By the way, the machine gun kick was invented by George Chung, because most people have no idea who did that. And George could fight. By the way, George could fight. George Chung could fight.
Yes.
But Jerry Prince, one of the best kickers, absolutely. He was one of those little like gnats in and out when it came to fighting because he wasn't a big guy. But if I'm near the ring, he was beating everybody, including Tony Young. That year, the American airline teams had what would have been Atlantic Oil on the ropes, and you know, for what it was worth, they didn't fight us at Diamond National, but they walked away after Vernon Johnson slammed, rest in peace, Nasty Anderson.
What do you mean they didn't fight you? They walked away. What do you mean they walked away?
Well, the history is this: American Airlines was supposed to fight the big team fight at the nighttime finals of the Diamond Nationals in 1988. Look it up, you guys from the region. Was us versus them. But when Vernon Johnson, who a lot of people don't know who that is, but this is the guy who he would beat everybody down, like beat them down. He had this big mustache, and I used to call him Show Enough. He remind me of
Yeah.
The Last Dragon. You know, so he fought Nasty, and he comes from the era where sweeps were allowed. And so does Nasty, of course. So he went under, scooped Nasty, and slammed him. Went to stomp on him, and you know, the American airline team jumped on stage, and Atlantic jumped on stage. And then when it was time for team fighters, they just picked up and got out of there. Now, everyone who was there knows. Okay, and they won't talk about it, but the fact of the matter is, I was there. So American Airlines never fought against Atlantic.
Transatlantic? Yeah.
No, it wasn't transatlantic.
No,
That's
just
years
Atlantic.
after.
Yeah.
At this point, this is the
okay.
Yeah, this is the and again, guys, listen. For whatever it's worth, I do have an excellent memory, and I was in many of the so-called situations. But
yes,
there's a lot of misinformation, guys. Man, I mean,
that's
people
why
just have no idea.
we wanted to have you on so you could tell us.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's one of the things I appreciated most
about
about you, Jerry, is when we would just be around, we'd just be in the lobbies of tournaments, we would up, and then it would be like you were still there. You would tell me a story, and I'd feel like I was experiencing it, like I was there. So when you say like you have a really good memory, like that's what I believe, even though I never experienced it. Like I'm gonna experience something from '88. I wasn't even in martial arts.
Right. Well, I think that's our job as elders, leaders. We're supposed to pass the baton and give people the right information to leave the village a better place. And most of the guys, listen, I'm embarrassed to say that the majority, 99.9% of my peers are ninjas. these guys are so freaking. I'm embarrassed to say that nobody puts out any information. I put highlight reels and videos and things from people for years, and these guys are hiding it in their house because they don't want to expose that they got beat. Like
Oh,
karate's fighting. That's not fighting. They ain't freaking fighting. Fighting is right now. I'm in the damn Bronx, and there's no rules. That's fighting. Martial arts ain't fighting. There's rules there.
Right. I love it. Oh man.
True. It's so sad.
I know exactly what you're talking about. You're always being the one that would educate and motivate,
You gotta
mentor
motivate.
the young guys. Always. I could sit for a while. It would be like after a tournament, I would just sit and talk to you for 2 hours, and that would be it. And I didn't need to do anything else. Right? I'd just be listening and back and forth, and I learned so much from that. So. And I've heard several of these stories. Yes, sir. I love that, and I appreciate you taking the time to do that too. So,
listen, but let's keep it real, right? If God forbid somebody passes away with that information, how can we benefit from that? Right. The reason why we're still living in the martial arts dark ages, guys, until people get the information. I did a documentary in 1997 that I just popped up and put on Facebook, and it's not even it was raw and uncut. And back then, I was telling people about you cannot let this nonsense happen. You can't play basketball and the ball hits the rim or just the backboard and you say, hey, I scored 2 points. No, you can't do that because you're going to lose your audience. And that's what happened. We have no spectators anymore. Now we have a booster club of people, family and friends. Yay, family and friends come. That wasn't what we had, man. We had thousands of people spectating once a year, coming to events at major venues, not a hotel. That whole hotel thing, I know where that came about.
Yeah.
And it wasn't from, believe me, because that guy used to stay in my house. I'm the one that motivated him and taught him how to freaking get the groin kicking states that never participated in what would have been Karate Illustrated tournaments after they changed the rules and NASCAR became NASCAR and PKO came in. And what I'm talking about this.
You just said a lot right there.
Yeah, because what it is this, right? The United States, all right, first of all, why do they give a 2-point kick? Because it's Taekwondo. Taekwondo. That's what karate is, sport karate said. But before it wasn't that. It was called martial arts tournaments. So you fought a guy and he picked up your leg, he would scoop down and groin kick you. You know that, Chicago, Texas, California, and other states. Even at the 1966 Long Beach Internationals, they allowed groin kicks. People didn't do it if they weren't from that style, but they was allowed. You see pictures of rest in peace, Joe Louis dropping down. So what happened when Karate Illustrated stopped Ronaldo Barton, stopped what would have been rating tournaments, and the tournaments that he was rating was still the U.S. Open, the Diamond Nationals, and which used to be the Mid-America Diamond Nationals back then, and then you also had in New York you had All Americans, and there was a few events that are still there, AK Grand Nationals at some point too. But anyway, they separated the country to kicking to the groin and non-kicking. So NASCAR became the sanctioning body of the tournaments. The PKL, Glenn Hart from Massachusetts, became the rating system. He bought advertising space in Karate Illustrated, which became Karate Kung Fu Illustrated. Instead of being monthly, it became a bi-monthly thing.
Yeah.
So what happened was the top fighters were not competing anymore. Just some of the top fighters were competing because the tournaments were about individuals. There was never teams. Ever teams. But since most people think in the last 20, 30 years that martial arts tournaments is about teams, then they have no idea. What team was Keith Vitale on? What team was Ray McCallum on? What team was Super Dan Anderson on? Come on, guys.
Yeah.
A team was a team when we got together, U.S., East Coast, West Coast, North, South, etc. The teams were not created for what would be tournaments. They were created for what would be a separate professional circuit done by Budweiser in 1986. There was no children, no underbelts. It was only black belt, adults, and teams. But people don't know this. So they think that their team business model comes into tournaments, which absolutely it does not. Absolutely does not. Because the team business model was for a separate events.
Right, like a series, like a 4-tournament series or something. Right.
So it just people just never stopped.
No, they just kept putting it in.
It just we'll just keep this thing going.
Yeah, and what they did was so this is what happened. So let's say Atlantic had the Atlantic Oil tournament circuits. The big one being the Bermuda Invitational Grand, and the last time they had it was 1988.
Okay. Yeah.
Now they also competed in regular tournaments as a team, which was the reason, and that's the business model everybody's followed after. They come from what would have been initially Budweiser,
Right.
but when Harry Krabs did not have to deal with Budweiser anymore, he's the one that did the marketing for them. And I interviewed him for 3 hours, by the way, just to get some history. Now, I don't know you guys know, but even Sushi's been interviewed. I mean, I've done over 100 interviews with people for the last 15 years, you know? All I've been trying to do is educate the motivated and motivate the educated. Because there's so many gaps in between that people have no idea why haven't we been able to have taken things to the next level. Well, I did an article in 97 called Back to the Future, trying to educate people on what was the monies that were being given many years before. And it was on Point Magazine. And that On Point Magazine story, which was a 2-part story, gave the blueprint of how the NBL became the first in many decades to give away $1,000 at tournaments, but not the Super Grands. And when I said that was because of this. I said, listen, we used to win grands. It was a G note, $1,000, not $300 divided by 3 weight categories.
Right.
And again, you can go check this thing, man. I've done a lot of behind the scenes work with people, including bringing back what the so-called super fights is, and that was another mistake that I was done wrong. And I spoke to HW himself.
Okay, now wait a minute. I want to talk about that because you and I talked a lot about that.
Here we go,
you
baby.
You brought it up, so I want to stay on it. So you mentioned something to me. People, hey, how about this? Okay, when it really started to take off again, Charlie Lee had a separate tournament called the Rolex Challenge. Okay, and people got after it because dude's giving away a Rolex. Right? Why wouldn't you fight for a Rolex? Makes sense.
Right.
Separate rules. Can't go down. If you go down to the ground, the other person's going to get a point. You go out of the ring, the other person's going to get a point. You could score 3 points for a punch even if you knock them down and out. So you can accumulate extra points, right? So it forces you to have harder contact. It then started to change a little bit. Everybody clamored after it, but then it started to fizzle away after a while. Tell me what you feel about what happened with the super fights, because it's real. I think when it really started to hit all the tournaments, it was like 04 to like really like 2010 or 11, maybe
it was
12.
04. Yeah.
Right.
All right, we can go to the videotape because I did a commercial, and I would probably say it's probably closer to 2005, 2004. It was in that range when Rexus still had it hopping without the shiny crap.
Oh, we're gonna talk about that.
We'll get to that. Let's.
Anyway, so this is the deal, right? I have a conversation because of Alex Ding Ding Man himself with HW himself, right? I say John Worley, right? Grandmaster John Worley. And I had a question for him, and this is the way I did it, because people think he's from Texas. He's from Minnesota. He's from Texas, man. Those guys are from Texas. Taekwondo junior students. That's who they really are, right? So that's the reason why, by the way, all the tournaments we see are Taekwondo, because they're still run by Taekwondo people. That's why they can allow a 2-point kick. And I'll come back to that. I digress. So what happened was I had a conversation with him because I cannot spectate and enjoy myself. I can't. Because the majority of the things that I see is people trying to do stuff that I did in my generation. Because I don't give a damn. There's nobody out there that could throw the kicks I did with the same amount of freaking power with either damn legs. And I can go to the videotape to prove it. And I've not everybody with these damn things.
I challenge you. I think I could.
Excuse me?
I think I could.
Left leg, right leg, 360 spinning hooks, shuffle. See, that's another thing too.
Yeah,
throwing the multiple roundhouse kicks is one thing.
Yeah.
I'll kick you with either leg. I can go to the videotape proving how I've hit people in their head that's 6'8" with 360 spinning hooks, still landed on my feet. Yeah, I could do a shuffle, whatever. I got you name it. But again,
I'm not trying that.
my point is that
keep going.
Mafia Holloway is doing things like that too.
I side railed you.
Okay, so as you can see, I'm still passionate about it, and I'm in my fighting weight. So I spoke to John, with my JW, as I call him, right? Yeah. I said, sir, I have a question. And again, I'm gonna bleep myself real quick. I said, what the F happened with these freaking karate tournaments? Here you got MMA fighters.
Wait a minute.
I asked him,
you said that to J-Dub?
Bro, let me tell you something, man. There's nobody in martial arts There's nobody in martial arts that I've never had a conversation with for keeping it real. Because these guys are hardcore. Yes, they may be playing that freaking, mid-America bullcrap, but he's from freaking Texas and he's hardcore, okay? Taekwondo is the toughest fighters ever. All right, let's keep it real, man.
I'm with you.
I've never been a person to pussyfoot around the situation, because when it comes down to it, people are at risk, and people honestly think that what they're even teaching can help them in the situation. I can tell you right now, right there, that kid, that crack kid right there will stick you up right there in the freaking Bronx, man. So I don't know what you guys talking about. But anyway, backtrack. You take a deep breath.
Yes, sir.
JW, I asked him a question. I said, sir, can you honestly enjoy yourself when you see the fighting? And he said, and he hesitated. He said, what do you mean? I said, well, what I mean is this. There was a time where the person who was standing up was the one that got the point, because he had that person down. And I said to him, how can we have an industry that started 30 years after us, meaning BJJ, so the tournament is 3 and 4 times bigger than us? How could that be? Somewhere along the line, we went backwards. If we were already on ESPN TV and we were already in Madison Square Garden and other venues, how could it be 20 years after that we're in hotels? So I said, check this out. I asked him, is there a possibility that there's more people who used to compete than there are people who do compete? And the people who used to compete left for a reason, but nobody asked them why? Because I have.
Right.
He got a story like one of my, and he said, I see where you're coming from. Now, people believe that you can't have these tournaments make actual contact because of the fear of the competitor. In the meantime, you go to the BJJ tournament and people's arms are being broken. There's 3 and 4 different ambulances there to handle the situation. And then they say, well, you got to fight with headgear. Well, how come the WKF guys don't do that?
Right.
They've never fought with, so it's nonsense. It's just stupid. And the reason I say stupid is because nobody's benefiting from what would be this business model. So his answer was, I'm going to do what you said. I said, great. I'm at the Battle of Atlanta the same year. I wasn't allowed to set up at the Diamonds because Asian World had an exclusive, right? Had an exclusive.
They've had that. Yeah.
Right. So as I'm in the Battle of Atlanta, Larry Carnahan asked me a question. Would you do a commercial for the Diamond Nationals? I wish I had it right now.
What year was this? Was it 2005?
The first time they had
4.
Yeah, it's between 4 and 5, because it was the first year that they actually had the super fight. But at the time, it's not being called the super fight. It's not being called the super fight. So this is what happened, and you're gonna understand how I coined the phrase, because I did, and why I did it. It went like this. I didn't go to. I said, hey, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in over 20 years, you're going to see real point karate. Not almost a point karate. You're actually going to have to hit the person to get a point. What a concept. At the Diamond Nationals, be there. In the meantime, I couldn't be there. Well, who was there? My buddy, Garth Benz. And he calls me, and he says to me, hey, they had it as a separate division. I said, what? What do you mean a separate division? They already tried that. It was called Atomics, and it didn't work. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah. So I'm like, so I made a phone call on not Monday, but Tuesday, just to give JW some time. I said, sir, so I have a question. How was it? Oh, it was great. I said, but you called it a super fight. He said, yes, we still owned the copyright to that, the trademark, because they used to have that. I said, but aren't the fights the 2-round matches that you have before the kickboxing or the full contact? Yeah. I'd say, so what's the super fights? Is it kickboxing? No. Is it MMA? No. I said, what is it then? He said, it's point karate. I said, don't you realize what you just said? By definition, you just said that if that's point, then the other thing is called pointless karate, because you don't have to hit them. And that's how I came up with that phrase.
Right.
That's how I came up and coined that phrase. You are pointless world champion because you do not have to hit the person any longer to score a point. Now, I also interviewed our buddy there, and it wasn't easy, but he gave me the interview, Charlie Lee. And my question to Charlie Lee, I said, Charlie, you wasn't even known as a fighter. Of all people, why would you have what would be the tournament that had the biggest and the most fighting? He says to me, because martial arts is about self-defense.
Correct.
I was like, wow.
Yep.
So, listen, the talent today is so much more like everything else. I mean, I come from breaking, of course, getting ready to go to a jam right now, so some legendary DJs, and I'm going to be B-boy battling today. And even in breaking, that's gotten so much better. There's no doubt about it. But there's no guidance. See, the blind can't lead the blind to the so-called prospect land, because when they do that, they both hit the wall. So the potential, which means nothing's been done yet except going backwards, is greater now than ever. But people who think that their authority are incompetent, and they don't have the proper questions to ask for the people who've been there, done that, because half those people getting ready to die. Some have, rest in peace, to a bunch of them who just passed away who knew better. But they did not drink the coffee, excuse me, not the coffee, could have been coffee, it's Kool-Aid, or the coffee, and they left. So I'll ask you a question. If you saw people,
go ahead.
Yeah,
if you saw
let him
right now playing basketball, and all they did was hit the rim, how long would you be watching? And how about if you said, no, the ball got to go to the hoop, and you're old school. Oh, stop. Oh, how about this? Now they change it, and they hit just the backboard, and they say, oh, that's a point. Well, wait a second, but it was bad enough, and it was the rim. Now you're saying they have to be the backboard? What are you talking about?
That's a good analogy.
Good point. Yep.
That's a really good analogy. Now I got a question for you, because you and I had a conversation like this about this exact concept, about this exact thing. I think it was like New England Dope in 05 is what it was. And we were in the hallway. We're talking about it, and Jotty had a day. I mean, they won the team fighting. Jotty won the super fight. Jotty won the point division. He won everything. But you and I were talking about it, and you were saying they could just change this whole thing. They just take all the money that they were going to give for the super fight, put that on top of what they're giving for the tournament grand champion, and just judge it like that. If this is how you want them to fight, just officiate them that way, and now you have what you have.
Correct.
Right.
And I think one of the problems is they couldn't figure out what rules they wanted, because there was always different rules. They couldn't figure out where they wanted to be with that.
But we're already there.
Yeah.
See, you can't show me right now 3,000 spectators at a tournament. You can't even show me 2,000-3,000 competitors at a tournament if you take away what would be two models. Model number one, the vacation spot. Right. Model number two, the booster club, the inter-school tournament that invites people.
Right.
Right.
Okay, so those are the so when I talk models, I'm talking about business models. Now, just to be fair, it was a misconception, people thinking that throughout the years that these so-called promoters were making a lot of money. 80% of them were breaking even at the national circuit. Sad to say, guys, just so you know.
Correct.
So that was a mistake. Why? Because the overhead was too high. The model did not make any freaking sense. The trophies were too expensive. If you're going to model something that's successful, and you would model after what would be a BJJ, they've been giving away medals for years because the model has been the Olympics. The Olympics, not the booster club of what would be Dance Moms, which happens in hotels that only family and friends come. No, it's a tour of what would be an event that happens in your town. Have you ever been at a martial arts tournament that they happen to do very rarely in a college, and people from the same university have no idea there's a tournament there? What's that about? How ridiculous is that? Because it used to be two events, guys. The daytime show was the Battle of Atlanta. The nighttime show was the Battle of the Star Wars, or the Battle of the Superstars for the U.S. Open. So these two events actually had Karate Mania sometimes. Battle of Atlanta during the daytime, Karate Mania. So those nighttime shows were standalone businesses themselves that got the general public into the venue, and they could still be done. However, the problem is that most people have no idea that's even possible, because we've been mimicking and copying and following the lead of blind, overweight, never been there, done that people.
So what would you do different, Jerry? What needs to be done?
Well, one thing that I'm doing different, because for whatever it's worth, no more behind the scenes giving information to people that take a portion of it, run with it, change it, and before you know it, Massmore's here, because I was called man. Okay, I did this in 2008. For those of you who know out there, I did this, and I have people from all over the place. It's really simple. You want children to be able to protect themselves in the street situation when you're a parent. right? But you don't want your children to get into conflict. So the closest thing to work on the so-called sparring would be kicking and punching, meaning protecting themselves is kicking and punching. All right. So in the school, if a child kicks someone to the arm, do you give them a point in your school?
No.
Well, you don't even hesitate. Then why they give the kid the point in the tournament? I mean, the arm's the target now because that's what people do all the time, and we don't really have an answer because it's been like that for so long. So it's like, why even talk? You know, why would someone who has integrity would extend their glove and hit someone to the shoulder, raise their hand? Why would they do that? I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why and how that started. Because you're sponsored by a team that gives you a bonus for every time you win.
Right.
And this goes back to the mid 80s in Budweiser and Atlantic. Okay, so that is what everybody started to mimic after. It didn't matter that you actually hit the person with two things: honor and respect. What happened to the honor and what happened to the respect is out the window now. Now it's gangs. Whoever yells louder to intimidate the judges, and it started in the 1980s.
Very true.
Started in the 1980s. If I can, so imagine this. In
Really
our school, we have a
90s.
student. Yeah. Of course, in our school, we have a student creed, and it ends with winners never quit, quitters never win. I choose to be a winner. Okay, so we teach values, life skills. But then when they go to tournament, all of a sudden, a chamber is 2 points. That's a potential kick. A chamber in the arm is 2 points. And then we're going to yell. So now sometimes people, what they say is, no. I know that, that's what we teach in class, but this is just a sport. Like people think that this is a separate thing, like a separate sport. And in the sport, you do what everybody else does. And what they do is they extend their glove.
Yeah.
They mess around with a shin guard. They slap the person to the shoulder. They raise their hand and everybody yells, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. No, but it's a facade and no one is winning because of that. So what I would do is I would reset it back to why are we even doing martial arts? To stay safe, to stay safe. Your reputation precedes you when you're a person of honor and respect. Doesn't matter how good you are in fighting skills. If I walk down the street right now and people don't trust me because they think I'm a freaking backstabbing dude, they'll get together and they'll do me in. I'm talking about in the street. If you do business with somebody and they know that you're a double-handed person, they won't do business with you. But that's become the normal thing now. Everyone thinks it's okay to make believe that you scored the point. I have a video.
I got a question on that one too.
Yeah.
So let me know if what you think about this, because I got an idea about that. So like when we look at this, if you had two people and one of them said, I'm a black belt in Taekwondo, and one of them and the other one said, I'm a black belt in BJJ, which one's harder? Right now, if they both got their black belt today, I think we would look at that and go, oh, a black belt in BJJ is way harder to accomplish.
Hold on a second.
No, wait. Today.
I don't. Yeah. That's what it seems like.
It's what it seems like, right? And I think it just became a trickle down. There was just one compromise that led to another compromise that led to another compromise,
right?
And it didn't really change that much in the tournament aspect, right? It was like, okay, well, all right, that's good. You're a brown belt. That's good enough. We'll make you a black belt. And then what was the standard for a brown belt now just became, the standard for something else. And then that became, and it just kept pushing down the road, which was the same type of thing that happened in tournaments, right? Just kind of what you've been describing, right? Well, no, this is where we want to be. Well, let's lower it a little bit and let's push that up to another thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I never did. That's called selling out.
Right.
I've never been a sellout. I've sold out clothes, I've sold out equipment, but I've never been a sellout. See, that's when you take your integrity now and you start eradicating. Integrity is the hierarchy of your values, and all of a sudden the honesty goes down a little lower. So yes, what you're saying is absolutely true. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? One bite at a time, and slowly. How do you take a bullfrog and cook them? You just make sure it's simmer and they think it's nice and warm before you know it, he's cooked, right? So I get it. The solution really is, to me, to be able to have a place where if you and I are sparring, I don't need a judge. Right. When I hit you, you're going to say, you got me. And then when you hit me, I'm going to say, you got me. Because imagine being a person of values that's consistent with what we're supposed to be teaching the class. Because when it comes down to it, it's this. This is not fighting.
Right.
But at the same time, though, Jerry, I need a judge. Because
no, I'm not anti-judge.
He didn't say that.
No,
okay.
I'm not anti-judge. No, absolutely not. And I'm just telling you, in the perfect world, when we're sparring and there's no judges, because we're sparring in class or down the
Right.
hallway or in the
All
park,
right, I see what you're saying.
yeah. So there we respect ourselves, we honor and respect. What's wrong with the values? Have you ever had a student creed? You guys hear student creeds? Well, I put together competitors creed, right? And in the competitors creed, I said no sellout, because if I got scored on, I told the truth. How's that? What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
The problem is lack of leadership. The lack of leadership.
Correct.
The people that we look at. Can you honestly tell me, of all the so-called promoters, when you had conversations with them, you were impressed by their intelligence and their values and their leadership? I wasn't
Only
impressed
a
by
few.
many of
Only
them.
a few. Only a few. Yep. No, I agree a
Yeah.
lot with what Jerry's saying. So I'm
Let
listening.
me. So
I see what you're saying, though. You're right on.
Let's look at the inconsistency.
Sure.
They say something, they do something else. I had a guy, I'm not even going to mention the guy because it was embarrassing. He's in the middle of a ring, and these kids were yelling at him, cursing at him. I couldn't believe it. And I said, "Whoa!" I said, "Why are you letting him? Why are you letting them do that? I don't want them to be mad at me. They won't bring their team to my tournament." I was like, "Oh,
They're
my
already
God.
mad at you.
No, but it's not even that. Like, he was afraid.
Yeah,
of
afraid to. Yep.
Why? So check this out.
Hmm.
You know that you literally can have competitors come to your tournament if they had a fair break, if they at least believe there was a fair break. How many times have we heard people say, "Oh, just keep coming. You're really good, but just keep coming." That means that I could have won today, but I can't win today because I'm not part of this gang and I'm not flying the colors to be able to be respected. It's worse in forms than it even is.
All right,
in
that's
fight.
what I was just gonna say.
It is worse
as you
in
said
forms.
that,
It's worse.
I was gonna
And
say
the
it's way
children
worse.
are the ones that are being ripped off. It's nothing but children. So how can someone justify that this atmosphere, such a toxic atmosphere, is even conducive? So the people who have students, they don't come. Stingo Garcia has had 600 students for years. You know, my student Mighty Joe, multi-millionaire, never selling out, right here from the freaking Bronx. They'll never go to tournaments with more than 1% of their people.
Right.
And even then, it's only because it's local, and I don't blame them because it's not consistent with what we had. And what do we have? If you was a Kung Fu stylist, and you was a Taekwondo stylist, and this guy was a karate stylist, and somebody else might have been a kickboxer, we had a set of rules that said, when you hit me, you get a point. And it's 1 point, not 2 points, not 3 points, not 4 points. So it's fair for the person who go punch and the person who go kick. How about this? When you went to sweep, when you went to kick, I would sweep you. No, not just the supportive leg, the back leg. And that wasn't the point. You had to follow up. Oh my God, the crowd would go crazy because
you
created
martial
arts.
So someone shouldn't get a point for doing the sweep.
Hell no.
No, of course not.
The sweep is not a point. No, because I tell you why they did that. The Europeans copied us. Okay? Waco was not started by George Bruckner. It was started by Mike Anderson and George Bruckner. Mike Anderson, previously from Queens, New York, who started also the PKA, Top 10, and Waco. Same freaking guy. But again, people have no idea. The Europeans allow a jab to the body, extended glove to the body. That has completely, like what you said, has gotten worse and worse, that belief, because their intentions and goal was to be recognized by the IOC. There's not one sport in terms of martial arts that the IOC hasn't taken and destroyed. Because if the Olympics was the reason why we did martial arts, then why aren't we all doing judo since it's been there since 1968?
Correct.
Why aren't we doing judo? Judo's a big thing. Well, Taekwondo, that only happened for the one reason only. At the time, the president of the IOC, Korean, was having, they had the
demo there.
There it is. And our friend, Arlene Lemus, who had won more money than anybody, I don't know how she became, that's when they started changing the rules. Arlene Lemus took the first gold medal, right? Miss, and Arlene, and then in 1992, it was her Perez that won the first official gold medal. But that was only because it was political, man. There's nothing more political than the IOC. And again, because of the IOC, right? Because of the IOC in the Olympics, that's the reason why we do WTF Taekwondo, right? No, we don't do that.
No,
not?
We don't. Yeah.
So why go after something that has never been successful? Why go after something, it sounds good, but it's not good? How many people do we know that literally at least heard of, had to work at a store to try to get some funding together to go to the Olympics. And God forbid they won. And then they had even a silver medal. They would have to pay taxes when they came back home. And people have no idea. They're incompetent. They freaking don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know. But
It's crazy.
It's really crazy. But I'm telling you what's the most exciting thing for me. Guys like you right now asking these questions and it's being freaking recorded. Okay, you guys are revolutionizing the industry because you're asking the right freaking questions from those few people who are still around who know better. There's nobody in martial arts who has done more for martial arts competition than one person, and that's Joe Corley. All right, and it's so sad to me because everybody, including your elders, worked for him.
Joe Corley.
They were the color commentators after he hooked them up. Okay, and I'm not gonna brag, but it's the truth. For the last 11 years, him and I have been hip to hip because I do modern day marketing and he does his part. Right. That's one of the best people I've ever met. And he was the last guy. It broke my heart. He was the last guy who couldn't judge. You won't see Joe Corley judge anymore because he couldn't give points for that. Like, I can't do it. Every Battle of Atlanta had a version of trying to preserve the quality of point karate, the integrity of it.
Right.
Years after Atomics and way before even the super fights. Right. Because he's really the peak.
Yeah, it all started
in the kickboxing ring too.
Right.
Of course, because he knows that basically the farm system of kickboxing, is point, not pointless.
Right.
Point. But I don't get mad at people who don't know any better. It's just a different game. That's why, to me, martial arts is military. In the military arts, you have special forces. And those groups of 6 has one sniper. And that sniper is a sharpshooter. So that's why 5 years ago, I did my so-called first video in 1966 where I put what was Chuck Norris and Alan Steen fighting and called them snipers. And now it has thousands of views right here on Facebook. Because I wanted to show people what I was talking about. When you see someone like, rest in peace, Skipper Mullins jumping up and doing a 360 jumping back kick, it wasn't that he can do that. It's that that's what Taekwondo people could do. You know, when you see someone like Steve Mohammed blitz people, yes, blitz. When you had someone like Raymond Daniels do a dive bomb and call it a blitz, I was like, oh my God, now we're really in trouble. He didn't even know that what he was doing was called a dive bomb. He thought a blitz was just getting from point A to point B. No, a blitz is a specific technique that has 2 steps on the ground, and there's 4 variations of them. Because Nasty didn't do it the same way Billy did, and Billy and Nasty didn't do it the way Howard the Flash Jackson, rest in peace, did it. And none of them did it like Mr. Norris. In that video, Mr. Chuck Norris does a blitz and is about 25 feet long against Skipper Mullins. And I pointed that out, and I put that video out there too, because otherwise, I'm just an old player hater unless I show documentation of what I'm talking about.
Correct.
I don't want to be that person, man. That's not right.
No, that makes sense because
do more.
So many of us, and I say this all the time too, and you know, like for us to understand, because I think all of us always say we have this grand vision of how things were as kids and things, and so everything was bigger and better when we were younger. So all of us had that. So when we say things like this, everyone wants to be like, oh, that's just because you have these memories and you want to just think that things are bigger and better. It wasn't as big. It wasn't as this. But then show the documentation, you know, show the videos of it. And now when you do that, now you say, see, it really was. So I wasn't just saying because I was a young kid and everything was bigger to me and better to me. Then, you know, no, this is what actually happened. And, you know, so.
Listen, the best is yet to come.
Correct.
And you guys are part of it. Let me tell you. And you don't even realize what you're doing. What you're doing right now is bridging gaps from generation. When you bridge those generation gaps, you have a floodgate of people. Because I speak to people all the time. You know what they say? Oh my God, I can't wait for that to happen again.
Yes.
What happened again? Quality. You look at Sushi. Sushi's a throwback, right? No. He's a quality martial artist. When he throws his kicks, his picture perfect. He's freaking chamber. But that's the way kicking is supposed to freaking be. What the hell's going on? You know, and in forms today, it's the wildest thing to me because if you have a front kick with your toes back, I'll be impressed. I'll be impressed.
Right.
I'll be very impressed. You're not supposed to throw a pop-up front kick, even though Charlie Lee did it with his toes down. He didn't have control over his freaking toes. That's what it was. So he did it wrong. Everybody's copying him.
Right.
Listen to what I'm saying. A front kick has the ball of the foot as being the target to hit with.
Yeah.
And they don't do that in tournaments because each one copy the next, just like in other industries. When someone turns around and says a front kick is when your weight is distributed 70% on the front leg, 30% on the back leg, and so on and so forth, and get explicit into detail, then they'll get better.
Correct.
But no one's doing that.
Right.
They're just selling more hype, and more hype. That's the reason why. How can you line up 10 people and do the same drill? People think sparring is drill. They think a sparring curriculum are drills. Not freaking drills.
No.
Drills is not sparring. Drills is what would be a chunk of a potential thing that may happen in a match, but they only work on the offense part. What happened to the defense part? So when they go into to what would be, listen, I saw you take someone and increase the intensity to what would be the match, and not going to the street, not going to MMA, but going to what would be karate do, where there's no where you have to really hit the person. We saw a top guy hit the freaking floor like this and duck under like he didn't even get hit. What the hell is that? You're supposed to be one of the top fighters of the modern day. You threw 2 or 3 kicks, and the second the person came at you, you hit the deck because you're not used to the intensity. You're not used to what would be getting hit any longer. You know, so you give me any fighter today, and you give me 3 months, and I'll make him whip everybody's butt. And you know what he'll do? Develop a reputation for punching him in the mouth, because when the guy gets punched, yo, man, he busted my lip. Because I'll put bullets into his gun. Because all I hear is, pa-da, pa-da, pa, pa. I'm like, wait a minute, why is the person still standing? Because there's blanks. There's blanks. There's only hype. It's blanks. And the meantime,
now we got some guys, Jerry. We got some guys transferring. We got them leapfrogging on to the next thing, whether they're going full contact kickboxing or even if they're going to the MMA.
Yeah, but I don't mean that. I don't mean that. I'm gonna make a statement.
I know what you mean.
Look,
I know what you mean.
This is what I mean. There's no sparring more difficult than point when done properly.
Correct.
Every form of pugilism is every form of pugilism is point. The goal is to hit without being hit. So that's where you start, and that's where you end up afterwards when you choose to go under other rules. So what I'm saying is this, and I proposed in 1991 that we were going to have a martial arts competitors union. Mm-hmm. And I did this with some of the top fighters of the time. You know what the problem was? They were broke, so they needed a sugar daddy. They needed a sugar daddy. I was making hundreds of thousands of dollars already in my successful multiple schools in the Bronx, Brooklyn, Queens, and Manhattan. So I could be an individual and go and fight against those teams and beat them in their own freaking tournaments as an individual, and then record it and talk it to the cameras and say how this is nonsense. Just because someone is not part of a gang, they should be able to win regardless. And this is not right. It's not right. And Sushi, did you see the documentary? If not, I'm gonna send you the link. 1997. And I shot in Ocean State Nationals, and I was breaking down how at the time they created the 30-39 division because the 30-year-olds were beating the 20-year-olds, and they didn't want that. They wanted to separate and have other things.
And I still deal with that today in forms, so I know it's the same thing. They don't want it. They get mad, and then the young guys get mad. Like, really? Like, you should just be doing the seniors. Like, I want to win something. I'm like, really? Like, don't you want to win and actually beat the person who's the best? I mean, that's what you want to do. So
I competed against Charlie Lee and tied with him 3 times in one tournament. 3 times, right? Imagine that.
Right.
1988. And why did I stop doing forms? You know, I stopped doing forms because I think forms went where you take Sushi and you put some Asian eyes on him, and Sushi's gonna win. I mean, let's keep it real. Sushi's gonna win. So it looks better.
Definitely was the truth. That definitely.
Come on, let's keep it real. Oh, no one's gonna say that. I don't give a
No, they're not gonna say it. But let's be honest. Yeah. No, but I even talked about that in the past, where people were surprised that my instructor was John Valera because I wasn't Asian. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, what? And I just remember that for a long time being, well, you're doing pretty good. This is as high as, really, like, myself and Butch Marks were like as high as you could get for You know, and I'm not trying to make it
Yeah,
like, but
yeah,
but that
yeah,
is
you ain't
that
lying.
is kind of the way that it just
If
was. And,
Peter Allende was Asian,
right, right,
Okay,
and talking
wait a
about
minute.
original flavor style, people have no freaking idea. So basically, what's happened is that you look better doing certain things. But the
right.
truth of the matter is that, and it's nonsense. That's why I mentioned George Chung. George Chung is an incredible fighter. He didn't compete as often,
Mm-hmm.
but he was an incredible fighter. I got him on videotape to prove it. The Asians, for some reason, are non-existent in any top 100 fighting. What the heck is that about? So
Right.
is an
That's so
illusion in
weird.
my mind that they think that they can't even do? Are you kidding me? It doesn't matter what color you are. You freaking have to be able to be
Right.
judged by your
Just go
skill
out there and
set.
do it.
This is
Yep.
nonsense.
Right.
But it goes back to the same thing of the conditioning. People trying to put themselves into pigeonholes, and they feel like, I'm telling you, it's just the therapy in martial arts is so deep. It would be so deep because John Valero could kick butt. Okay, he
Yeah.
could freaking fight
Yeah.
really good. I mean,
Yep.
let's keep it real. Because I was on Prestige one tournament with him, and then but John Valero phenomenal. But he's not the only one. Now there was other ones that were horrible, and I won't mention their names, but they were horrible. but when I looked at recipes, when I looked at someone like Stuart Kwan, I motivated Stuart Kwan one day, and he actually took first place at Empire State Nationals, which was the NASCAR version tournaments of New York, and he won. And same thing with oh my God, I'm going blank. Who's my man Monkey? Javon Holmes.
Javon, yeah, yeah.
Javon Holmes also, because to me, forms competitors are in better shape than fighters because you can't make believe you're going to throw that kick. You actually have to do the form. Where I've been out of shape for freaking 15 years, maybe more, and I could fake reposition somebody and clock them and still beat them. We're not a forms competitor. So the greatest potential of what would be, I mean, only one time we saw Kim Do throw that crazy kick, and it's one of the greatest highlight little kicks of all time. That was like the future of what martial arts
He
was.
did it
Being
twice.
able to
Right.
do that.
Yeah.
Now, if he would have landed on his feet, would have been better. But why would Kim Do be able to do that? He comes from the West Coast Taekwondo school where
Right.
George Chung came from.
Chung, yep.
Ernie Reyes Sr. and Junior can fight too. Martial arts is about self-defense. It's not a
Right.
separation.
Right.
Man, let me tell you something. It's exciting and heartbreaking at the same time when I see kids skill set, and then when I hear them talk and who they look up to, I'm like, oh my God, you can't look up to that freaking person. My mother would beat my butt if I hung out with a liar, a cheat, or other
Yeah.
things that may be even worse.
Yeah.
Like, what happened to the values? But they are good. There are some phenomenal people that are surrounded by bad people. But those good people are surrounded by bad people, so they're guilty by association too. So I believe let them do what they're doing. Like, I am not trying to help, or I should say, change anyone or tell them what to do. We're going to have a different model because that different model, to me, doesn't offend anybody. Let me just say this. I'm happy and I'm proud that there are events that would take kids away from what would be a negative situation and put them
Correct.
involved in martial arts. So I'm not
Yes.
hating on that. No, I
Yeah.
love that part of it. I love that part of it. I love the part that they develop relationships and that they, all that stuff. But it's sad for me to think that they think that crap's going to work.
Right. So,
Black
Jerry,
that never
yeah.
fought.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I've talked to too many competitors that say they don't even own sparring gear. And I was like, wait, what?
What?
Or, oh no, I don't do that. I don't spar. I'm like, well, you do martial arts, right? So
It's
what
the
do you do in
instructor.
just because, why are you labeled a forms person and a fighter? That's something I
The
don't really like.
instructor.
And
The
and
instructor.
that's something, oh yeah, big time. And
It's
it's the story.
leadership, lack their leadership.
And it's because the leader lets that kid
Yeah.
tell that same story to
But
themselves,
how
put
about this
themselves
though?
down.
That's
Uh-huh.
true, but it's not. I think it's in our culture today. It's happening in so many different things. All right.
Right. And it shouldn't in
Why
martial
is
arts.
Deion Sanders the last person to play 2 professional sports? Why is that? All right. How about this?
Because he was.
Even within the same sport, why do we literally have guys basketball? All right, that couldn't play high school defense. All right. I think
Wait,
James Harden is hot garbage. I don't like James Harden.
Who said karate was a sport?
Mm.
See, that's the thing. See,
Yeah.
that's the thing.
Yeah.
See, that's the thing. I
Okay.
spoke to a kid the other day, and I asked him, how is it that boom and you think he said to me, oh no, that's martial arts. This is a sport. I'm like, oh my God, it finally hit me for the first time ever. So since it's a sport, this is the way you win at the sport. You yell, you scream, and I'm like, oh, so I get it.
Yeah.
Right? So, but to me, it's never been a sport. It's been what we do, so we don't get into a fight in the street, but we work on our skills to make sure that they're still sharp. So I want someone to try to sweep me so I can be aware of that. I want someone to try to hit me in the groin so I can be aware of that. I want someone to test my skills so I don't have to get into a real confrontation. I don't mean sport.
But we're competitive people.
MMA.
What's going to happen in the end is, you will do, a person will do, I don't want to say a person will do what they know will win them. And they're in the heat, they're in the bowels of competition.
I can go to the
Someone's going to win.
I can go to the videotape and show you. You see Benny the Jet Akita fighting against incredible fighters. In between techniques, you know what they do? Shake hands.
Right.
Because all they really want is someone to test their skill.
I got a controversial thing about Benny. I didn't think Benny was as great as Benny was.
How?
I don't think he was. I don't think Benny was as great. I think Benny was dirty.
In which one?
But Benny the Jet Urquidez.
Yeah, but I'm saying where? In point karate or full
or
contact?
in full contact?
Both.
Well, in full contact,
I think if you watch Benny the Jet's videos, you'll see, if you watch it, he knees people all the time.
Yeah, because he's a right. So because what happened was this, and again, he wasn't doing it with bad intention. This is how he was training, right? So he was training, and then he got penalized because of the mistake that he did, because he was thinking street. I'm Mexican, I'm little, I live in California, and this crap better freaking work because we got some problems over here. That's my mindset to this very day.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's transition.
Even though I don't do that.
Right.
Let's transition. I want to get to, let's just call it, man. There was a time, Jerry, where it doesn't even matter competitor, every practitioner of sport karate for a number of years clamored after and wanted your product. You had a product that every single person in sport karate or there it is.
There it is.
Whether it's sport karate or just practicing martial arts, you had a product within rec suits that everybody wanted. Every team had to have it. Everybody wanted at least 3 different suits. I got them.
Yeah.
Ironically, you know what, Jerry?
Yeah.
I'm wearing rec suit pants as we. I'm not even kidding you. I'm wearing rec suit pants as we talk. I'm not even playing with you.
Again, that's a Miami double there, right? To match with the rest of your stuff there. So in a nutshell, the thing with Rex was it was created by a competitor that really didn't understand why I had to buy a uniform that would shrink and fade. Why were we in canvas? Like, it didn't make any sense. I thought martial arts was a high performance activity, and they didn't have high performance apparel.
Mm-hmm.
So initially, the original so-called, the predecessor to a rec suit was when we had a team called T2, which was totally awesome too. And I went and got a hockey shirt. And I'll show you the hockey shirt right here. And this is the hockey shirt.
Yeah, I remember that.
See the airbrush there in the back?
Yep.
Right? Now, if you notice,
but
just so you know, I am not anti what would be performance. The opposite. I'm not anti what would be, the so-called, if you're going to do a team, like when people went to the team concept, I said, then why the heck doesn't your team have apparel for the fans? How come I can't tell who you are fighting on the team? So in 2000, when Ben's started Team Victory, I said, I'll get down with Team Victory. And what did we do? The same thing I did with Totally Awesome too. Every individual, like the X-Men, they had their own name, nice and big, on the back, so people could cheer for them. And then the front,
and the team.
Martial arts is backwards. Martial arts is backwards. It's embarrassing to think that it literally has such a great opportunity. You're walking around with what would be martial arts pants. Well, that's how you cross over to the mainstream. So imagine if someone to get that martial arts pant, how to go to your school, the general public, something that's battle tested, something that's going to last. I mean, how old are those pants?
Like 10 and a half years old.
At least.
Yeah, these ones are that old.
Yeah.
But I've got a bunch of others.
Yeah, so because of Alex Ding Ding Man, because he used to hit people ding ding. I said, my man, I like the way he dinged them. Ding Man. I called you Ding Man years ago. We went and got what was the Chicago flip flop made for NK because of him. Yeah, we also made some for a group in Chicago initially from another guy. We don't have to mention them, right? We made those stuff way back when. So the thing with the Rexus is that, and initially they were called Fast Feet ones. It was called Fast Feet. By the time, and this is 1996. At the time, I wanted to sell. Actually, let's show you another one. This is the Team USA one that I made the other day too.
Right.
Wait, you just made that the other day?
Yeah. Oh yeah, we still got Rexus. I got about 500 Rexus, maybe 600 right now that are sitting in my partners at Max. Max is Martial Arts City Supply. See that, Max? So I've been selling Rexus for the last few years, but we've been blacklisted. We've been blacklisted by 95% lies, and then the other 5% was called unfortunate. But I reimbursed quite a few people if not they have to. But see this here. This is the original Rexus, 1996. Yeah. And I wore it in the documentary, and it still fits today. So it was called Fast Feet Fontanez, and no one was going to buy that,
right?
Because I was humiliating guys. To be honest with you, Alex, I wish you would have saw what I used to put on the show was something that it was me against the powers that be as a rebel. I did not understand why all these guys. I used to look at the teams and tell them, "Man, I'll fight the whole team. I beat you. Give me 30 seconds rest. I'll fight your whole freaking team." Because nobody was standing up for the right of the average person. And it drove me crazy. That's why we started the MBL.
Well, let's go back to the rec suit. Let's go back to the rec suit. Okay, so Team Victory starts.
No.
Oh, you want to go back there? Okay.
Yeah, 1996, I do the original rec suit.
Okay.
I have the wrong name. I wear that one across 125th Street in Harlem to make sure that I got feedback from the general public. And it had pockets. It wasn't for karate. It was for the streets and for b-boying, breaking.
Right.
Breakdance, as some say.
And you're a b-boy, so yeah.
Yeah, I'm part of the Rocksteady crew. I couldn't understand how these kids would dress like bums. Man, we never looked like that. We were tight, man. We had freaking warm-up suits, whether it's Adidas or Nike. So I was coming up with a new generation of suits. I even made matching jackets. So what ended up happening was Team Victory. Ben's going to start a team. He was part of Totally Awesome T2 with me, and then Team Victory, which was instead of using red, I used like a burgundy. This was the original Team Victory. Yeah. So I still have most of the stuff. But anyway, he didn't want it, man. He didn't want it.
He didn't
because
want it.
he hadn't experienced it.
Right.
You tell me right now, ding ding, man, why would you be wearing those pants right now?
They're comfortable.
How long they last?
These things look brand new.
Forever.
I got them over 10 years ago.
They don't shrink. They don't fade.
They don't shrink. They don't fade.
Are they childproof? Do you iron them all the time?
Never once.
So wait a second. An actual product that lasts long, that doesn't shrink, that doesn't fade,
doesn't catch when you chamber your leg. Doesn't matter how much you sweat.
It stretches, it breathes. You can put it to the light and actually see through it too, right? It's an incredible apparel. But that fabric, why hasn't anyone been able to duplicate that long term? They did versions of it, but why couldn't they do it? Because I literally had to get the raw material, dye it, and help manufacture it. So the reason Rexus was able to do things that to this very day people just can't. Anyone who has a rec suit today has something that's worth at least $300, if not more dollars. Because if someone would do that for you, that's how much they would charge you. To do one, I was charging people retail for what would have been custom. I was charging people wholesale for what it was ridiculous. So years after, I did change the industry when it came to alternative fabric. And yes, I had copycats, whether it was Macho copycat me, Adidas copied me. How's that?
Right.
Adidas copied me. Yeah, imagine that. And I was so proud of that. But you cannot have someone who's part of the industry as a competitor take money. Somebody said this to me and I could not believe it, man. He said, you blackballed. I said, what do you mean? You know how much money you took away from the pockets of all these manufacturers?
Right.
I was like, what? You know, season number 2 of the World Combat League, I made all those rec suits. People don't even know that.
Yep.
And I did the matching rash guards. People have no idea. And the rec suits that we do today are actually better because sublimation is a big thing. You know, that Stars and Stripe. When I came out with the Stars and Stripe pattern, did you notice that company that starts with a C came around and did a limited edition version of it? They all watch me. They've always been watching me for years.
Right.
As crazy as it sounds. I'm like, so I got blacklisted. Okay, no problem. But now they have to deal with a product that's really heart-wrenching for me to even have people wear that. And you can't breathe. I know that these people on these teams, they still wear my rec suits when they're working out. They all told me the same thing, but they whisper, hey, you have to wear your stuff. You know, but I have hundreds of them right now on shelves, ready to ship as we speak. But people have no idea because it's become a new business model. Now the model is the sponsors or the actual manufacturers.
Right.
So because of that, even if they don't give them real money, if you wear my stuff, you know, everyone's
we'll give
each
it
other.
for free.
But you're right.
Which is horrible. And now, mind you, how about the equipment? Does the equipment even bend to make a thumb? Like I made one that you can make a real fist. I tested my gloves.
Well, you're making equipment too?
Oh man, I've been doing it for years. Absolutely. So look, I created equipment. I took the model of what would have been, guys, obviously, we're martial artists, we're eccentric, right? You know how eccentric we are, man. We freaking nuts.
Of course.
So how am I going to put
I
my
know
name?
you and I are.
Why am I going to put my name on something that I don't believe in? That doesn't make any sense.
Right, I literally put my name on your product. I got my name on it. I got Digman right there.
Yeah.
I put my name on it.
Oh man. All right, I'm ready to see
No,
this
wait a
glove.
minute. How about this, Jerry? How about this? How about this? So you had a number of teams that during your time of the rec suit era, you outfitted. Who are some of the teams that you outfitted in rec suits?
Well, okay,
teams or people?
No, I'll just mention 3 because it's I'll mention 3 teams. I'll mention 5 teams. Number 1,
yeah,
well, it's pretty simple. Number 1 was Victory. The second team was Straight Up, and then the most successful, most popular, well-known team was JPM. And then you're gonna have to take wow, I did teams, Canadian, anything Mike Bernardo did, even existing with all those 3 letters, including WKA and WKC, did all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I did
all
teams
those.
for country. I did teams for countries, USA too.
Yeah. You did a lot with GOP, I would say.
How about some other ones? How about here's some that I remember. Pro Rank.
So what would happen is that you would get people that you wouldn't even realize they were wearing our stuff because there was so many different designs. We had more styles and designs than anybody.
But you had the one and only logo.
Yeah.
You had the
if it doesn't have the number 1, then it isn't. You know, I always believe that, you know, rec suits are number 1. Rec is real easy kicking suit because it has a pocket. And because you should be able to walk down the street, go to sleep with it. You know, it's supposed to be like the samurai's pajamas is what the gi originally is.
Right.
This is an example of the glove. It looks like everything else, right? But look, since it has leather there, and if you look close, I don't know if you can see the weaving. This is high-level vinyl.
Right.
I've been using this glove, hitting heavy bags. Oh, yeah. Because the quality of the cushion is real. The thumb actually moves. Okay, but look at this. Why don't they have an elastic waistband? I mean, I say wristband to make a real fist. As opposed to an extended, I can't make a fist because my thumb is too long. Right. We have faulty equipment created by people who are in martial artists. So then they pay you money to wear them, and you don't say nothing. Even if they suck, I'm not going to say nothing. So now you're perpetrating the fraud and helping other people buy the same junk. It's horrible because can easily do that. You can easily do that if you're able to get them to make believe they score the point. So why not?
Right.
Well, you know, my partners at Max, right? They've been manufacturing things for many, many years, and they literally one of the biggest factories overseas. And they looked for me for 3 years.
Has anybody? Are these in circulation where anybody can purchase, or is anybody outfitted in any of these?
So just give us the site or the
it's maxmartialarts.com.
MACSmartialarts.com.
Yeah,
Yep.
Max plural. Max Mark. I haven't been doing as much marketing towards it recently because I'm putting it together as a plan. So, and when it comes down to it, I'm working in conjunction with people worldwide who are just fed up of what has happened, and instead of crying about what's happening, God
Right.
bless them, best wishes. We'll do something different.
Something different. Yep.
Yeah, because it is not our right to go to somebody else's home and tell them what to do.
Correct.
I'll never do that again.
Correct.
Never do. Now I'll go compete.
Yeah.
And I'll continue to add to my highlight reel. And now I'm 195, so I'm in freaking shape, and not 248. Have you guys have seen me for years? You know, because that's a whole other thing too. I was out of shape.
You
for a good
cut
15
down
years.
that much?
Yeah, I'm 195. I'm back to my real deal fighting weight. But again, it goes back to nutrition. You know,
Yeah.
that's another thing too, right? So here you have martial arts schools that are clothing left and right, right and left. Right? This is a whole. I know this is a subject matter that a lot of people just don't realize that I was part of both. Okay,
Correct.
I was speaking on stage for EFC National Convention back in 1992. After I won Mr. Mastery at Hawaii with Tony Robbins, who I went there to punch him in the mouth because he really done a damn deal. So people don't understand that these are the things that actually happen. And thank God I have documentation to prove the things that I say, because I'm not one to just talk. When people talk about me, and many have, when you ask them deeper, the truth comes out. And the truth in video is going to come out. How people aren't that tough when someone's going to punch them in the mouth.
Yeah.
They can't, all of a sudden, they're not that tough. But listen, the rec suits was phenomenal. The best is yet to come, because when it comes to that, I'm not concerned about the martial arts industry. They'll buy it also. The B-boy world.
Right.
Because you can't go to dance studios, and the dance studios cannot purchase Adidas or Nike. Actually, karate schools either. So imagine if for some reason you had an apparel division that the general public came to your school to get some of that. That was my whole idea. So
Correct.
the karate schools became like boutiques to sell something that was mainstream. And you don't even have to keep it in stock. It'll be drop shipped for you, just like
Right.
freaking, come on, man. So what I have planned as a team, and I have the resources, is so much bigger than what I did before. Because I just did this with out of the desire.
You were bringing bags with you to tournaments, and people were just, you would go to a
Yeah.
tournament with
Cop
just a
and
couple
go,
of
baby.
bags,
Cop and
and people
That's
would
right.
just hover around you. Like, what do you got, man?
yeah.
What do you got?
Well,
Like, oh, I got this new suit. And people
let
would
me
just,
tell you. Let me tell you one thing that was crazy. 2006, we go to Ireland.
yeah,
And
that was a year where it was a lot of teams from America that went that year.
yeah. Well, we ended up actually. Jason Borelli asked me to get on the team with him, and we ended up winning. America won teams. I mean, I was on that
Yep.
team. The
Yeah,
All
yeah,
Stars.
yeah.
I made the uniforms for the All Stars. I made the uniforms for the
I
All
remember.
Stars
Yep.
and fought on the team. But that day was interesting because the sponsor was SAP, and they paid 10,000 euros to be the main sponsor. And the promoter who said I can have a table, and the table was like a little round, poker table.
Yeah.
Just a little,
Yeah.
the line was so long that they shut me down. Listen to me. They shut me down because they said that the sponsor was complaining that they paid 10,000 euro and they wasn't selling anything.
Right. Yeah.
Because everybody wanted the authentic with the number one. So as it turned out, an hour and a half after, they shut me down, and then I ended up going to first the parking lot, and they went to the parking lot and shut me down there. I'm like, what?
So you didn't even leave.
Wow.
You leave the tournament. You're like, fine, I'm out of here. People follow you, and they try to kick you out of a news place.
Yeah, they literally did. Legendary Boogie. I'm over here getting ready. I gotta go to this concert from. But so what happened was they shut us down because they weren't selling anything. They wasn't selling anything, right? And would you know that day I sold more in an hour and a half that I would sell in 2 days in the United States, because they could not believe how they can get a chance to get the press. They were playing euros. They were playing euros, and they have to worry about shipping. So it was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Now, and just so you guys know, what happened with rec suits was they killed bin Laden in Pakistan. They shut down those borders. 4 to 6 weeks became 4 to 6 months. So I had a partner at the time that was going to expand into baseball, football, basketball, hockey, soccer, and then we made samples for everything. I mean, I still got some of those
I
samples.
do remember the site.
Yeah, I remember
the
seeing
site
that,
did
yeah.
have that stuff. That's
Yeah.
right.
So right. So and then what happened was, next thing I know, it pops up on eBay. eBay still has sometimes the United States is not the United States. So what they'll do
Oh,
is
right.
they'll take your stuff and they'll sell it in a customs auction. In 90 days, I lost 90% of my income. My children went through 4 school systems in 2 years, every 6 months. So I lost everything. Never put all your eggs in one basket. That's why those who have karate schools right now, you better have an online stream of income, and it should be consistent with your values. So you should be selling some health stuff to the children. That's another stream they should have on the side. And I can talk about that too. You see me, myself, and Joe Corley, and a bunch of people, we're working together to help the martial arts industry have another stream of income, but consistent with our values. But the thing is that what happened from that really broke my heart, because by people, I became the end thing to talk about how, he owes me money. Oh, yeah, man, get out of here. I mean, people were just straight up lying. There's a guy there's a guy that's shorter than Sushi from Canada that, man, this freaking kid acted as if he was the authority of like nonsense. And what he said was that I owed the Canadian team uniforms, and absolutely not even one uniform. They got theirs about a month ahead of time. Then I made a uniform for the United States team. I sent 3 boxes. They picked up 2 boxes. I sent 3 boxes. They picked up 2 boxes. I sent them the invoice, so they know it's 3 boxes. And that 3rd box was the one that they didn't get, that they said that I didn't send. But of course, it's in the invoice. Bottom line was that it completely destroyed my lifestyle. It led to a divorce and a whole bunch of madness from the rec suits. So if anyone was like anti-rec suits because it was the association, it was me. I'm like, man, forget that crap. No, it's the best apparel ever made, competes against anybody in mainstream America. Why doesn't Nike or Adidas use that quality product? Because they don't have to. People buy the junk every 3 months. And the lint balls. You ever got lint balls in your rec suits? No. And how many of my so-called friends became copycats? A few of them.
Yeah.
A few of them. Did they last? Absolutely not. Did they make new styles? No. They just big.
Well, that was the great thing about the rec suit, is the rec suit, it came in a lot of different styles. Like when you just said, oh, that's a double, right? Because you had a lot of different styles.
Yeah.
You had the doubles, you had the OOs. Team AK would rock the OOs. Right?
Yeah. So what your guys actually had, you had what's called a triple left flip flop, which was a fast feet flip flop. So your front was the back, back was the front, the back was the front, the front was the back, and then you had the piping. You know,
that was our second generation.
Yeah, that was the second generation. Yeah, and that was
the best looking one.
Our most popular seller of all time, solid black.
Right.
Solid, you know. And listen, the thing with the rec suits is that it's needed so many ways. You know how parents, how much money it would save, how much neater a school looks, you know, how much easier it is to walk down the street. It just makes sense, but it offended people's products. They have millions of dollars worth of inventory of stuff that doesn't work. I mean, why not make quality stuff? Because long term, they think that they'll lose money. But I didn't do it because of that. I did it because we needed it. How can you have karate gloves and be hitting heavy bags and it doesn't crack? My vinyl does not crack at all because there's different levels of quality vinyl. I manufactured it. Why would I make something that is going to be junked? I can't do it. I won't do it.
Right.
That's what I mean about honor and respect. Why would I teach you something that doesn't work to help you protect yourself in the street? Why would I share information with you with something that may jeopardize your so-called health? My mother will whip my butt. You understand what I'm saying? Like, right now, my mother will come in the room and kick my butt if I wouldn't. All we want to do is be 2 things, guys. Good boys and girls, so our parents are happy with us, and go forward here, and lead by example as a good parent. Everything else is what we do. Like, everything else is what we do. But realistically, we want to just be good people. Even though people make fun of you when you go, look, you're picking up the dog poop. Huh? Yeah, that's what we're supposed to do. But they'll laugh at you in certain circles. Oh, man, how come you say he scored on you to the judges? Man, I don't even care what the judges say. It's between him and I. Now, it breaks my heart when that guy's trying to cheat me. I'm like, what are you doing? So that's why I hit him. I hit them. I hit them. I don't hit them late. I hit them within the rules, but I hit them with my hand closed like a man. I don't slap anybody. You can always tell. Oh, by the way, There's another thing called hand wraps that no one wears anymore because their intention is not to hurt them, hit anybody. If you don't wear a hand wrap, you know who you hurt? Yourself.
Yourself, yeah.
Yourself.
Yeah.
An extended glove is not what you're supposed to. I did a whole video how people cheat, how to pick up the chamber. It became the end thing. And I don't blame anybody for doing that because they don't know any better. It is the way that sport has become. Pointless karate because you do not have to score. You do not have to hit the person. So by definition, I just propose that they really put it for what it is. It's called pointless.
Right. Hey, all right. Yeah. So as we start kind of moving on to wrap this up, I got just a couple quick like questions and kind of like maybe if I'm even mentioning a name or a topic, you give. I know it's hard to give like 5 or 6 words about it. Let's just go. All right. Who was your toughest fighter you ever went against?
Billy Blanks.
All right, Billy Blanks.
That's a good one.
Who was your, I guess, who was your favorite? Not favorite. Okay, who's a student that maybe people don't know that was yours that you were really proud of?
Oh man, it depends on what age and stage because I had students. I was the only go-to guy in New York to be with modern techniques because no one knew how to blitz. I taught them all how to blitz, but they're not my students. But I guess probably the most acclaimed that people might have a question, it will be Mighty Joe, and I nicknamed him Mighty Joe, Joe Rivera, because if it wasn't for him, there would be no East Coast All-Stars. They built the entire team around him. Yeah. And that's how they became, top competitors. And Gene Boogie Frazier, my top 2.
Yeah,
the third one would be Exotic. Exotic. Eugene Lewiston, Exotic as I named him. And he taught some of the top fighters. He taught some of the top fighters from New York by private lessons that you might be mentioning. He taught them how to blitz. And that's my student.
That's awesome.
And I know people who signed at the line, but they don't get credit for being people who signed the certificate. When someone becomes a student, they have to sign an application, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right. So there's a guy that I also mentioned that signed the application and was a student, and my other student, Exotic, taught him in Brooklyn, but the guy's from the Bronx, and he was a descendant too. So you fill in the blanks there.
All right, what about toughest competitor in forms for you?
It would have to be Charlie Lee because we competed against each other 3 times in the Korean division and tied 3 times. And even in Bermuda, he took first place. I took second place in 1988. So I beat more people in forms than I did in fighting. Just so you know.
Wow, that's awesome. And what about your favorite competitor in forms to watch? I mean, I'm sure it's gone throughout, but maybe top 3 or whatever. You can mention some names.
So we'll talk about it in eras. So the first generation to me would be the George Chunk. When I saw him, I was like, oh my God, it's like everybody else was on a whole different, they were doing different things. And George, he wasn't as sharp as John Chung.
Right.
But my God, it was freaking so cool to watch him fly through the air with the greatest ease and do all the things. So I like the hype. But then the opposite of that was Domingo Llanos, the best Okinawan martial arts kata in the history of an American doing it. Trust me, guys, it's Domingo Llanos, student of Chuck Merriman, Okinawa Te Goju-Ryu, the proper way done. And he was
Jeff and I have talked.
That was the name that I was having a blank, and I was trying to remember Domingo.
Oh yeah,
we talked about that a couple weeks ago. That's what you were thinking of. All right,
incredible. And then during that time too, you also had the beginning stages. Not for as long as he wasn't around as long, but my God, Javon Holmes with the monkey staff, he was incredible. And then going into the modern day times, you had a variety of people, but the thing that I didn't like was that they were all about the same. Mm-hmm. So when I mentioned one person, they were just copycats. The young kids looked about the same, except John Valero had a sidekick. Okay, fine, he did, but so did we, right?
Yeah.
A lot of the people don't realize things that they're doing. Quite a bit of it comes from Carmichael Simon because he's the first person to change keys in the middle of a freaking form, and no one was doing that.
Right.
I mean, the guy was freaking so cool. I'm not sure about the fighting part, but my God, in the freaking ring, when it comes to forms, he was doing some incredible stuff. Carmichael Simon. But Peter Linde was completely original, and you have some B-boy flavor, then you have to put some, Butch there because that's.
Butch Marks,
even though the first swipe, it was me. I did a swipe with a spinning back kick in the middle of a b-boy move, but it's a b-boy move swipe, not the swipe that they call in gymnastics. It's a little different. It's a breaking move. But
And I know what you're talking about.
yeah. And then in recent years, the truth of the matter is, the only person that sticks out alone, but just to be fair, he grew up in the little kids watching, is freaking Sushi. This guy here is legit. Now, listen to what I'm saying. Original flavor. He had his, my man was talking to himself. But come on, man. That's flavor.
Yeah.
But proper techniques on top of that. And then for whatever it's worth, he's standing the test of time. And that's what a real deal martial artist. I don't see Ding Ding and Sushi out of shape. The opposite. You know, now I can honestly say that I'm
not the best shape I want to be in, but
yeah, right. But because we have high standards, you know, and plus this pandemic has made it a little difficult to do as much as we want to do, right?
Right.
But my point still is that a real martial artist always competes against him or herself. It's about Kaizen, constant and never improvement. It's self-improvement. It's values. It's supposed to transcend into other areas of levels of excellence. And the truth of the matter is that that's why, as an elder in the industry, I'm proud that there are people like you guys who are bridging the gaps, because you are really just a bridge in between gaps or generations.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you, man, it's not that difficult to make something work, because we already have the model from before. Have you ever seen photos of the Battle of Atlanta, how big it was and how packed it was?
Yeah.
How come no duplicate that very day?
Yep.
How about this? He's still around, and he knows what he did.
Let's
But
talk
no
to
one
him.
asks, no one asks him a question.
Right. Because why do you think that is about that? Like, I've been next to people and saying, oh, man, Joe Cooley messes everything up, or Jordan this, when Joe Cooley's about, and I'm just sitting there like, dude.
Because he knows what to do. You know, 1,000 hours of broadcast television.
Correct.
That's he has 1,000 hours of broadcast television,
and he was like broadcasting, like actually during the same time he was fighting.
Okay, that's why he is the Renaissance man.
Right.
When it comes to martial arts, he had a school at age 18. He promoted what became the Battle of Atlanta. He fought against 1967. The guy's rated in the top 10 fighting, rated top 10. But then 1974, he fights as the first title, 75, sorry, first title defense of Bill Superfoot Wallace. Then they fought 10 years after. So yes, if you hung out with him for a week,
just
at 6 o'clock, he's in the gym. No. At 6 o'clock, you're working out.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, no, he's the truth. The truth. Have you ever seen him out of shape? Let's keep it. No.
Never.
Joe Cooley is one of those people that but he's an intellect.
Yeah.
And he's also what you would consider a kinesthetic type of person. So he's not as visual as we are when we all hyped up. He's laid back and cool as hell, man. I love that.
That's something that like that guy and even Jeff Smith, like those two, they rolled together.
Oh, you're missing one. You're missing one. The other the three-headed amigo is Bill Clark, William Grandmaster. Those three guys, I love them. If people would just sit down and listen to them, take notes, oh my God, because there wouldn't be no Master Club, no Black Book Club, none of that stuff about Jeff Smith. There wouldn't be. I mean, come on, man. And
they're on tape.
I gotta go ahead.
These people are three. Now, when I say Jeff Smith, what I'm really saying is, again, also from Texas. He's from Texas, guys. The TC Pablo from Texas. He's a descendant of great Grandmaster June Ree, rest in peace. If it wasn't for June Ree, there would not be anything that we're doing right now happening at the same level, not even close. That's good and bad, both fighting and forms. And the reason I say good and bad is because I think it's a mistake that there's a 2-point kick, because that's what turned off people who used to be punchers. And they said, wait a minute, if we all got equal opportunity to win, I don't mind coming. But now you're saying that the guy with the longer leg has an easier chance of winning, so you're gonna give him 2 times. How come you don't give me a punch, 2-point punch? Because the kick's easier to do, not harder to do. I mean, how you say it's easier to score with a kick than it is to score with a punch. The guy's a kicker.
Oh no, it's not. No, it's not. It's not easier to score with a kick than it is with a punch.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, it's not.
Yeah, it's
We
harder
do
to kick.
everything with our hands.
No.
To kick, you stand when you're punching. You're standing on both feet. When you're kicking, you got to use only one foot to stand on. Then you got to position yourself. It's way harder to score with a kick than it is.
I don't think
punch.
it's just perspective.
It's more difficult to kick, right? To be a kicker.
Yeah.
So we got that part. In other words, your training has to be now towards kicking. But let me fight any punch. I'll kick him in the mouth. Are you kidding me? They can't reach me with a hand. They can't reach you with a damn hand. They can't reach you with a hand. Oh, yeah, so they slap the shoulder and they extend the glove. No. A kick, a punch. What separates martial arts is from boxing and everything else is that kick.
Right.
Boxers, including Mike Tyson, did not let us kick at him. Hector Camacho did. So kicking is not easier to do. No. But once you get good at it, you can kick someone easier than then they can't punch in terms of scoring. I'm talking about distance-wise, not the ability to do it.
Right.
You fight a guy that can't kick. He can only punch.
So learn to kick.
You beat him. No, I'm saying you beat him. So they should all have the same equal amount of how about this? When everyone was allowed to score 1 point for each take, then people came out to play. When they were allowed to sweep the person who kick and then punch them, they were allowed to play. Since then, they've gone away. Guys, listen, I apologize. I'm speaking about an hour.
We were about to,
I got El Boogie Bing there with a new haircut right there. Let dance.
All right, my friend. Thank you so much.
Going up to Connecticut. I apologize.
I know I took great. We were just finishing up.
Hey, so you said you're about to
he's about to leave
part
right
of the
now.
Rock. So you're part of the Rock Steady crew.
I'm a former member of the Rock Steady crew,
I'm a former member of the Rock Steady crew.
Yeah, former member of the Rock Steady crew. I was involved during the 1990s, but I did that in a capacity that was at a higher level. So I got Crazy Lex to bring back the crew, Mr. Wiggles, and everyone practiced at the Fontanez karate schools, whether it was on Broadway in Manhattan or uptown, the Boogie Down Bronx, Ken Swift included. So yes, when it comes to martial arts, top to me is one and the same. The rec suits. If you're gonna catch a wreck, you wear your rec suit. You know.
Sir.
So I'm going over to what would be a concert up in Connecticut with some legendary DJs like Tony from the Tony Crush from the Cold Crush 4. I mean, these are guys that Anyway, however, I had to take the time and do this. I apologize.
Thank you so much.
Over here. Guys, listen, man, there's no reason for me to smoke up no one's freaking rear. I'm just keeping it honest, man. I love the fact that you guys are doing your thing, and whatever I can do to try to connect some dots, I will do it, because when it's all said and done, I want my children to be able to be brought up in an environment that I loved myself, and they helped me make the right decisions. And that's the reason why I'm not dead right now.
Jerry, here's what we're doing. Speaking of that, so what we do with every guest before they go, we let them get a sign off. All right, you got to go right now.
Yep, that was it. I think that was.
That was your sign off. Never mind, that was your sign off.
He's gonna go down. You had to shake her. He's gonna go down. So I got a few more minutes. I'll do that sign off.
I'll do one more minute. One minute. If you got one thing to say to the rest of the world, and everybody in the world listens to our podcast, what would you tell them?
We have a huge opportunity to save people's lives, leading by example. But if you look in the mirror and you be honest with yourself, are you really at level 10 when it comes to your ability to communicate, your ability to share information, your ability to love people, your ability to kick, to punch, whatever it is? Because this is really about self-improvement. You cannot lie to yourself when you look in the mirror. You know that when I said, guys are in shape, you're like, no, your standards are high. Right. I strongly believe that most of us have conned ourselves into thinking that we're good enough, when you don't even know how good you really can be. We can change the world leading by example. And I'm not talking about just in competition. Mm-hmm. I'm saying in raising your standards, being a black belt in life. I mean, I believe that. That's why I'm into this thing. I believe that, I rather show you than tell you.
Correct. I love it, man. Thank you so much, Jerry. We appreciate it, man. And you have a safe trip, and we will talk to you soon, my friend.
Yeah, and the famous words was crazy Puerto Rican from the Bronx. When I say AB, you know what to say. AB.
See ya.
See ya.
USA, baby. Yeah. God bless, man. I really
Awesome.
thank you
Yeah.
for that.
Yep.
All right.
You can go ahead and just end. Yep. There we go.
Guys, thank you, man.
Oh, all right. Hold on.
All right. This has been another episode of Inside Scoop with Alex and Jeff.
I'm
Alex
Jeff.
Dingman.
I'm Jeff Doss. See you next week.